Hello friends, welcome to the Archer and Olive channel. My name is Elizabeth and you might know me as The Joyful Sojourn on Instagram and YouTube. I'm an ambassador for Archer and Olive this year, which means I get to play with beautiful things and get creative in my own life while encouraging you and inspiring you to get creative in yours. This video is dedicated to collage papers because I've seen a million questions on social media about how to use collage papers, and my immediate response is always, however you want. There are no rules when it comes to creative play, and my hope with this video is not to put you down, tie you into a box, but actually to give you some creative ideas for how to incorporate collage papers in your own journaling and planning life. Let's start first with what I mean by collage papers, and we'll start with the books, but I am going to expand into the kit clubs because there are collage papers in there as well. So I'm going to move I have many examples here. We're going to set those aside and flip through in just a minute. Let's talk about collage papers and what they are in the context of Archer and Olive. Here I have some examples. The Forest Findings is one of the most beautiful collage books that we have seen. It is very autumnal and warm, and these are B6 size papers that you can rip up, you can cut apart, you can glue down, you can rip and pretend like it's washi. I have scraps in here as well. They are a thinner paper than your 160 GSM, which means it's not going to add a ton of bulk to your pages. I think that's going to be really important to point out when we start to flip through some of my examples. The quarterly subscription box from September 2025 included 2 mini collage books, one in day, one in night. The one in day has beautiful, bright colors like, you know, the sun's just coming up. We've got the sunrise, beautiful blues and pinks, and it is really lovely. And then the yin to the yang is the nighttime, which is dark and moody. And again, just really beautiful scraps of paper that you can put into your planners and your journals. Then we have from the Everyday Collection from fall 2025, 2 new books. I'm going to say it. The Ink and Type is my favorite. This one is gorgeous, you guys. If you're someone that is more minimalist or you like to add color in other ways, but you like having black and white texture to make the colors pop, this one is a really beautiful collage. You can see there's scraps everywhere because I've been playing with this, but I love the Ink and Type. And then also from the Everyday Collection Fall 2025 is Soft Nature. This one is really calming. If you do more kind of self-care journaling, this would be a beautiful book to pick up. But they are just so fun. Everything in this book is cohesive, so all of these papers can be mixed and matched together. Now, let's talk about the other type of collage papers that Archer and Olive offers, and that is in their monthly kit club. Here I have them in the extra large binder, which is also from Archer and Olive. When you get your kit club, they're going to come in these little envelopes. You open it up and you're going to see several sheets of stickers, and then you're also going to get these papers. And in the examples I'm sharing with you today, I am including both collage papers from the books that Archer and Olive has come out with and collage papers from the kit clubs. These papers, thickness-wise, feels the same. So you can mix and match with your kit club papers and your collage paper books. The first set of examples for collage papers will be in planning, decorative planning. This is a B5 Songbird planner in the undated format. And here you can see I've added some imagery up at the top with the headers and some down at the bottom. This is from one sheet in the Ink and Type book. And you can see they have multiple textures, multiple images on one page. So I pulled this page out and I cut it along the different images, cut this one down a lot more to make my headers, which I just used a paint pen to write my days of the week. I added the keys down in this box and the pen here. I've really been enjoying splitting up this notes column into Saturday and Sunday so that the bottom boxes are open for to-dos. And so with a little bit of moving some collage papers around, I've been able to create a slightly different layout from the vertical that Archer and Olive offers. I really love this look. I tend to gravitate towards stickers, which we'll see in a second, but I love that Scrap papers and collage papers can be used like stickers. It's a thinner paper, and so it's not going to add a ton of bulk. If you've got a glue stick or a glue pen, you can get them pretty darn flat on the page. And it's just a fun way to, I don't know, change things up a bit. Let's take a look at this next example. Now, this is from a kit club, but I'm showing it because we use collage paper down at the bottom. I did the same thing with splitting my notes column for Saturday and Sunday so that the bottom can be totally open for notes. And this is where I cut down collage paper to fit inside what was the Saturday Sunday box. And I just love that this creates a little bit of, I don't know, heaviness at the bottom. It's very cohesive with the rest of the spread, and it changes things up. Instead of having a white page of dot grid, I've added some collage papers in a teal dot grid to coordinate with the rest of the spread. I also here used some scrap paper or collage paper. I ripped it up to add some corner pieces here. I do that a lot. In most of the examples, I'm using collage paper like washi, like ripped paper, like junk journaling. I think it looks so beautiful and scrappy. And because the collage books and the kit club papers are so cohesive with the kits that they come in or the books that are assembled, you can really create something that is both like junk journaling, artsy, papery, but still really cohesive because the textures and the colors work well together. Now let's take a look at some daily options in an A5 dot grid journal. Here's an example of an A5 daily page that I set up using a kit club. I love the way that the layers work over here without adding a ton of bulk to the notebook itself. I've got a ripped corner here that I just aligned with the last bullet all the way across. And then I stamped the number 8 on top of a neutral collage paper, ripped it out and glued it on top. And I love the way this design looks. Here's an example of multiple collage pieces layered for a weekly dashboard page. I've got a piece back here that I've ripped and just butt up against the corner. I've got another piece down here in a different kind of ivory color. And then I took a whole sheet, which is a B6 size, and plopped it right in the center and stamped notes on it. The B6 size nestles beautifully inside an A5, so you could just put one whole sheet down and then throw washi tape around it or frame it out with additional collage papers and stickers. This is another example where I created a weekly dashboard page and I ripped a piece of paper and put a sticker on top of it and created the rest of the format for my weekly dashboard. You don't have to overcomplicate collage papers. If you like a texture or a pattern in your collage book, rip it up and glue it down. This is a monthly dashboard I set up using collage paper. This is from the fall 2025 sub box. I took one sheet and cut it into strips. I love kind of cutting up images like this. I think it looks cool with the stickers from the September box as well. And then I cut out a little window here, framed it with some washi, and then when we open it up, we've got another piece of collage paper that I cut down and framed out. I've got a section for this month's highlights and for priorities for the month. For reference, this is the sheet that I used from the quarterly sub box book. I ripped the paper out, cut it in half. This is what I sliced up to do this top part. And then this whole image is what I popped into this framed out box here. I also took one of the images that was super neutral. It might have been, was it this one? This one. I took one of these full sheets, I ripped it out, and I tore it on the long side to create my frame up at the top. I layered the stickers on top of the ripped paper. Ripping paper is so satisfying. It makes you feel super creative and it always creates such a beautiful edge on your page. So don't be afraid to take one of these out and just start ripping up the paper and adding shards of paper all over your planners and notebooks. Last example for a planner setup is with a monthly dashboard page leading into your planning pages. I used this sheet from Ink and Type. I just pulled out the whole sheet. I cut it down along each of the different images and I glued it down onto the paper. So love the paper clips, the ink here, the strip of lined paper and the pencils, and then I just took some alpha letters from the Halloween collection and spelled out October. And I think this looks really, really nice. And all it is strips of paper. Now let's get into some more journaling creative play type ideas. The first one is, of course, tip-ins. I think that people use collage papers a lot as tip-ins, especially in this B6 size, because you can easily pop in a page to an A5 journal or even a B6 journal, and it's a really nice fit. In this example, I cut down a page from the A5 journal, removing some of the excess on either side, and I glued down my page. And then I added some decorative elements, some stickers from the Sticker Favorites sticker book, and some washi tape from an old sub box. And then I added alphas from the Everyday collection from fall 2025. I used the alphas to spell out Autumn Memories 25. And I've got all this space on the back to do some reflections and some journaling. I can also add photos here if I want to. And it's just a really cute little tip-in that has nice structure to it. It's going to stay really nice because it's technically attached to a sheet of the paper. And it just, I don't know, it just adds a lot of warmth to my pages. In addition to tip-ins, folks are partial to pockets as well. Pockets are very easy to add to your notebooks, and collage papers can do that for you. You can start cutting your pages if you want to, but just gluing down a piece of collage paper is the easiest way to create a pocket. In this example, I pulled out this spread, I cut it in half, and I just glued down the left side, the bottom, and the right side, leaving the top open, and I can easily slide paper into it. You could add pictures, but in this example, I actually just took the scarf print and slid this in here vertically. And I've written a note to myself on the back, and so I can easily just, have a little secret note tucked in right here. You can, of course, decorate this more if you want to, but this really is not adding a lot of bulk to this page, and it looks cool. It looks like this little sweater pocket and a little secret note. I want to go back to another pocket idea. This is one that I created for the self-care box, and it's kind of the same concept. I glued down the sides with this collage paper. I did stamp it with an Archer and Olive punch. I added some washi tape, and then here is a letter that I wrote to myself responding to one of the self-care prompts. I sealed it with some washi, and I've just tucked it in right here. So I really love the idea of using collage papers for adding pockets to my journals. This is another example of using collage papers in a journal, specifically my creative listing book. This is very simple. I drew in some boxes and I did some stamping and threw some stickers down, but these two pieces of blue paper are collage papers from Archer and Olive. I love the ripped look, and it gave me something to stamp on. So I actually stamped down on the papers and then ripped the paper apart and added it to the pages. And I just think it adds such a beautiful look to the spread. One of the things I talk a lot about in my creative videos is the importance of play. If you are a busy person, if you have a job and you've got kids, it's so hard to be intentional about slowing down for 20 minutes and just creating something with your hands. This is an example of using collage paper to just make something, just because it feels good. So all I did was write down some lyrics, some of my favorite lyrics from Sarah Groves, and I ripped a piece of collage paper and tucked in stickers underneath it, added some washi, and this is another piece of collage paper that I ripped up and I put a sticker right in the middle just to help it kind of stand out against the green collage paper. And this was so fun to make. It felt good to my spirit. And does it have a purpose in my planning life? No, but that's not the point. The point is to create because it feels good and because we need that. We were created to create. And playing with collage papers, ripping paper, gluing paper down really is a wonderful tool for unwinding and relaxing. This is another example of collage papers used in a journaling spread, and all I did was rip up a bunch of different patterns and glued them onto the page along with some alphas, and then I left plenty of room on the white paper to kind of write out my thoughts. I love the way that this turned out. Did a little bit of stamping as well, and something about the ripped collage papers in our notebooks and our planners is so satisfying, and I don't want you to feel intimidated like you can't do it. You absolutely can. You don't even need scissors. You just rip rip and glue down, and you've got something that looks cool. And notice I did a mix of textures here. So we've got some sheet music with some forest with just some red dot grid paper, and somehow they come together and make a really pretty journaling spread. This last example really is for those that just want to throw things down on paper. This is a collage of collage papers that I just put down for fun. I took a bunch of different papers from the Forest Findings collage book, and this one is a complete piece of paper that I just glued down first. Same with this one. I just glued it down, and then I took other textures, ripped them up, and I glued them down just to make a tapestry of images. And then I thought, well, if I want to be able to write something down, let's go ahead and add some peekaboo pieces here. This is also collage paper. So as I was ripping up this piece here, I had an extra piece, and so I just folded it in half and glued it down. This is a piece of the wood collage paper from this guy right here, and I just went ahead and glued it down. You can lay a whole sheet down if you want, like that notes page in the planner layout, or you can just rip and glue them down and create a collage or a quilt with these papers. I can't possibly go through all of the creative ways that you can use collage papers because I am but one mind. So I really want to encourage you guys in this video down in the comment section, please leave a comment with how you've used collage papers in your planners and your journals. And my hope is that as a community, we can come together and share ideas. Maybe if you're able to share pictures of how you've used collage papers, share it over in the Archer and Olive Facebook group and reference this video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you're not subscribed to the Archer and Olive channel, please do that, because this channel is a wealth of information from a variety of different ambassadors and creative folks, and so we'd love for you to come back sometime. If you want to find my content on Instagram and on YouTube, you can find me at The Joyful Sojourn. And if this video was helpful and you decide to pick up some new notebooks or some of these collage books, I hope you'll consider shopping with my discount code, which is Joyful10. And I guess we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.